Tonight's episode of the 31st Lap Podcast is brought to you by DirtTrackDigest.com. If it's on dirt, it's on Dirt Track Digest.
This is the 31st Lap Podcast, recorded live in the studios of FingerLakes1.com in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now, your hosts, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another edition of the 31st Lap Podcast, number 241 on deck for us here this afternoon. A great Thursday sitting over the top of us. We've got Matt Guererri joining us for this episode. A very excited Matt Guererri coming away with the win over at Land of Legends Raceway. I know everybody has been chomping at the bit to get some racing in. Still some local tracks fighting against the weather currents thus far, but more openers planned here this weekend with Brewerton opening their doors, Utica Rome planning on opening up their doors, and then later on this month, Weedsport is going to get into action as well. So we're going to take a look at some of that stuff coming up here. But first, before we go any further, we're going to welcome Matt Guererri to the show to talk a little bit about his win over the weekend at Land of Legends. Matt, man, how are you?
I'm good, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Oh, for sure. I saw the results there, and I was pretty excited for you to come away with that win. Right off the top, what does that do for the team in terms of getting things going on the right foot for the start of 2018?
It's a big confidence booster. We won the opener last year, and we were fast right out of the gate. Wasn't as consistent as we wanted to be, but it's always good when the first race out, your car's fast and there's not really any bugs to work out. So just got to tweak on the setup a little bit and try to get faster and stay consistent.
A couple different places to go from here, given that it was, one of the first real chances that we had to see what the track was going to do, given what the weather was. Take me through first, if you would, the feature itself. I mean, it's such a deep field of sportsman cars that they've got over there at Land of Legends Raceway. A win at any point through the course of the year is certainly an accomplishment. Doing it early on certainly sets a tone. Walk me through the feature and what that was like from your perspective.
Well, we started third. I had a couple fast guys ahead of me. Dave Marcichelli, he started fourth next to me, and everyone knows Dave. The guy's been winning everywhere he goes, so I knew I had my work cut out for me, but straight from the green, we got up and got the lead, and it had a good race with Kane Bristol. He was really fast, and he actually we had a restart on lap 2, and he actually pulled me by like a straightaway. We ran about 8 or 9 laps, green flag, and he started pulling away from me, and I think it was more of me trying to be protective, like keeping the bottom protected so I don't get past. And then obviously I tried to start driving it harder and change the line a little bit, and then I obviously got faster, and we were able to get by Kane on another restart. And I think the beginning it was more of me trying to drive on the defense and protecting the guys. I knew everyone started up front, so the harder I drove it, the better the car was. So it felt great.
The starting up front early in the season, we haven't gotten enough weeks in yet to get into the handicapping, but with as good as the car was, do you feel like you could have been a few spots deeper and still had a shot at that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, as far as last week went, it was really good, and I felt like we were just as fast as anybody, but it's always tougher when you're coming through the field, so that always shows your true colors too. I mean, it's one thing if you have a fast car and you start up in the first couple rows, but once the handicapping starts and you get started back in mid-pack, it's tougher, but hopefully it's good enough we can do that.
You still have at least one more week before the handicapping kicks in, right?
Yeah, which is good. With the win now in my handicap, at least I get another draw or hopefully 2 out of it.
Sure. So. That's not so bad. I want to come back to the track. You said that you could drive the car harder. We know how important setup is in terms of the sportsman car with a crate motor. You have to be on top of that, and it really has put so much of it back into the driver's hands in terms of setup and being able to drive it harder. You've had plenty of experience driving these cars now for the past couple of years, and you've got plenty of notes to fall back on. The wild card, I I want to believe was what the track was going to do. We've seen a lot of tracks try and hold back on how much water they put down because we've had so much weather in the area. What were you expecting the track to be when you got there, and what adjustments did you have to make in order to get the car to perform for you?
Well, before we got there, I was honestly expecting it to be a little rougher than it was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the track at the end of the year, last year when they had different ownership there, it started getting pretty bad the last couple of weeks with rough spots and holes, and I know the Paul Cole and the guys didn't get a ton of time on the track this year to get it prepared probably the way they wanted to, so I was expecting it to be rough. We got there, it was smooth, it was dry. I mean, they probably could have had more water on it, but with the rain, I mean, you never know when it's going to rain now. But
sure.
They did an excellent job with the track. I was really impressed. I know a lot of people were really impressed with the track. It was smooth, so I mean, right from hot laps, we knew it was going to be smooth and slick with the sprint cars there too. So we got a standard set of shocks that we put on when it gets that slick. So that's what I ran, and it was good right out of the gate.
Do you feel that your car is happier on a slicker track? Do you like driving on something that's slick, or does that sportsman car that you've got with the power combination, that shock combination, does it prefer a heavier track? Where's the happy point for that car?
I mean, it's pretty good on when it's slick or when it's heavy. A lot of it, honestly, is me trying to drive it the way it should be drove. I drive over my head. I get so jacked up. I drive it how I'm not supposed to when it gets slick. But
right.
I like running when there's a cushion up top, and I like running it hard. But it was good to win on a track like it was Saturday. I mean, it was you had to be slow and patient and hit your mark. So it felt pretty good to win on the track. It was pretty slick like that.
You got a number of wins under your belt. You've got some experience in the car. I'm a little surprised and almost happy to hear that the adrenaline still gets the better of you sometime. You know, it's nice to know that it's still a rush for you.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the night before a race, I'm like a little kid in Christmas. I can't sleep. I get excited. I get nervous. I don't eat on race days because I get nervous right up until we go out. So the adrenaline's there every time. Even when I'm not racing, I get nervous for whoever I'm watching for whatever reason. It's exciting for me.
I want to take the win in a different direction now, kind of like we set up a few minutes ago. We started. Can a win at the beginning of the year, it sets nice tone, momentum, and all that stuff, can it be a hindrance at all? Can it go the opposite way because you fall into a sense of a comfort zone, almost a sense of complacency? Can it flip your momentum the other direction because you get too settled with the car?
I think that's definitely true. I mean, last year we won the first week. The second week, my Uncle Paul won, and I was second. I mean, right with him for the win. So, like, the first 2 weeks were really good, and when you run good, you put a lot of time. You want to go down the shop, and you want to work on it because you're excited to get back. And
right.
I think after those 2 weeks, I kind of didn't put the time in that I needed to on it, and expecting that it was just going to be as good as it was the previous week. And I take blame for a lot of that because the races are won in the shop, so you got to put the work in at the shop to get the results at the track. And I think a lot of it was me with the inconsistencies, just not putting the work in that I needed to. So I tried to be better with it this year, and stay on top of things, and work hard through the year, and hopefully get the results.
When you've got the momentum on your side, and you want to go down and work on the car, or perhaps on the flip side where you lose a little bit of that drive because you believe the car is going to be so good, and you get off for a week, not off from racing, but the car's just off, the performance isn't there. How much time can it take to get back to where you need to be with the car? But not only that, how much time does it take to get back mentally so that you're back in that mindset where you can be successful and you've got the belief in the car?
I mean, that's huge. I know sometimes I've done it before where I'll run good 1 week and I'll put the same setup in and go back the next week, and it's not any good. And then
right.
in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I got to go try something different, and I got to throw something different at it to see, if we can get any faster. And then you end up taking 10 steps back from where you're trying to go. So,
sure.
I think take the notes on what we started with, and keep trying to put the same things in there and tweak on it just a little bit during the week and try to get it better. But I know a lot of times you try to flip your setup upside down when it don't work one time, and for a lot of it's probably the driver, not the setup. So, I mean, it's a tough thing to figure out.
You made reference to Paul, your uncle. Nick drives the cars as well. So I mean, the whole crew has sportsman cars. How much bragging rights did you get off the heels of winning over there at Canandaigua last Saturday?
Oh, they knew as soon as the race was over, because I'm the biggest talker down there. I like to rub it in their face. So it don't happen very often. Paul has more wins than I probably have starts in a sportsman. So I try to get it when I can. They don't come often, so when I do, I try to make it last.
The banter I've seen just around, sometimes even just with the RC cars, can get pretty spirited. How does it go over? Does it ever cross the threshold for where it's not joking anymore?
No, everyone's pretty good. They got thick skin. Everyone busts on each other, and I mean, by the end of the week, by Thursday, Friday, they're ready to get back to the races and get it over with. And hopefully, I don't win, so they don't have to listen to it anymore. So.
Right. Your car is over in Border City by Burn Dairy at Matt Shepard's shop. Paul's got his own shop as well, and then Nick is up on 318 now, right? Everybody's spread out a little bit more than they were?
Yeah. Nick's on 318. He has a shop with my cousin Frankie, who also has a sportsman. He runs with us, and Kevin Ridley.
Okay.
And then Paul has his own garage at his house, so he keeps that out there in Geneva.
And then sharing some space with Matt Shepard, you work on Matt's car at Outlaw on Friday nights. He's driving the Sweeteners car owned by Vic Coffee, and then you also go with Matt on the tour. How much information can cross over from a modified program like what Matt's put together? Obviously, he was successful. We'll get into some recaps of the action from the weekend here in a little bit. Matt, very, very successful, to understate it. How much of that information crosses over back and forth to setups, ideas, combinations, shocks? I mean, how much is there to cross over?
There's a lot. I mean, just watching them, just going to the track with him and Randy, just sitting back and watching them and listening to what they talk about, and the prep and the time that they put into different things that you wouldn't expect. I mean, tire prep, when I first started helping him, it was like, man, I haven't been taking care of my tires at all. Like, tires are huge, especially with our cars. They're huge, and so I think that transferred over to mine pretty good. I have a whole new mindset on that, and I think a lot of it with him. I mean, obviously he wins a ton of races, and because he wins a ton of races, I think people think that he has like a secret setup or a secret shock that he puts on, and to be honest with you, it's like the most basic thing. The basic setup and the basic shocks that you can run, and when you try to tell people that, it's not really what they want to hear. So, I mean, when you want to try something in your car and you're trying to find the secret setup, it's pretty much you got to go back to basics, and that basics will, it's your best bet to start on. So,
sure.
You learn a lot from just watching them and listening to stuff they talk about. That's a big help.
Ears open and mouth shut kind of thing, huh?
Right. I mean, they probably get tired of it. I get to shop. I'm constantly asking questions when they're doing stuff like, why are you doing that? What's it going to do? What do you think it's going to do? And just to try to learn as much as you can.
It's funny that you hit on it the way that you did with Matt being, almost scrutinized for his success and people overthinking what he's doing with his operation. And that can be said for anybody. Dave Marcichelli, with all the wins he's getting, or Ron Davis in the sportsman class, those guys are under the same under the same microscope that anybody else is that's winning a lot of races. But the big thing in the crate sportsman class, like we talked about a bit ago, was the handling and how important being able to drive the car. So let's say I've got a sportsman car and I want to go fast, and I talk to you and I want to run the same setup as what you've got because you won last week at Canandaigua. The thing is that might not be anywhere close to what my driving style is, even though, you still got to get the car to turn left, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody has their own driving style, their own feel, and their own mindset when they're in the car. So even though I've got the most trick setup possible in this thing, it might not work for me. And that's what a lot of guys, I think they overthink it.
That's the big thing is they think, I'm going to copy his setup and put it in my car, where his driving style might be different than his. I mean, you might get Alan Johnson. He's a guy that perfects the bottom, where you got Danny who likes to beat around the tops. Mm-hmm. You got two different guys that win a lot of races, and they probably run totally different setups in their car.
Sure.
It's all on how you drive it. But, I mean, the basic thing is basic shocks, and, I mean, his basic setup. He runs a basic setup at pretty much every track he goes to. It's maybe changes one or two shocks from track to track, and that's about it.
Do you find yourself in a similar situation with your car? I mean, are you running pretty much a neutral setup at this point with the number of laps and times that you've had in the car? Do you have sort of a neutral place to start from?
Yeah, honestly, I pretty much run the same setup at every track I go to. I have a set of rear shocks I run when the track gets slick, and when the track gets heavy, or if it's a little rougher, I have a different shock you put on. But I think a lot of it's shocks with our cars too. And like you said, you touched on, people harp on the guys that win a lot in the sportsman, like Dave, and I mean, Rocky was winning a ton of races, and people don't realize too, them guys also run 50, 60 races a year. And when you run that, you get more comfortable. The more you run, you get more familiar with your car too. So when you run one night a week to someone like Dave who runs 45, 50 times a year, when you run more, you get more familiar with the car, and you find out different things it likes, and that's a huge help too. You
can buy the best motor, the best rear end, the best shocks, the best of everything, but there is no way to buy seat time and experience.
Yeah.
You talked a little bit about those guys running so many times. What's your season going to look like? We could just spend most of the time at Canandaigua, I'm sure, but are you going to venture out at all?
We'll be at Canandaigua every Saturday. I'm going to hit all the Weed Sport shows. We're going to go to Charlotte again in November. That's pretty much what's set in stone for sure. I know I like to go to Brewerton once or twice a year. Mm-hmm. I mean, depending on midweek shows, I like to go to those too. But I also have a lot of fun traveling with Shepard too. So,
right.
I mean, sometimes I like going with him and taking a night off of racing and going to help and have fun doing that. And if there's a show coming up that's during the week and a track I like to go to, I like to try to go to it too. So, but Canandaigua and Weedsport are definites, and we're going to try to go to Utica and Brewerton whenever we can also.
So you're probably going to be 35, 40 races by the time you're done, if not more?
I'm hoping so. As long as everything goes good and, we don't wreck the car up bad and put a ton of money into it,
So real quick, you talked about traveling around with Matt and taking a night off and enjoying it. First and foremost, do you find yourself still being a race fan after the amount of time that you spend around dirt cars as a whole?
Absolutely, I love it. I mean, if there was a race every night of the week, I'd probably be there every night of the week, whether I'm helping someone or not. I mean, if Matt's not racing, I like to go and I'll help Nick or Kevin or anybody that's racing. I like to go give a hand, and as long as we're at the racetrack, that's where I like to be. So,
has there been a night when you're out there wrenching on the car, not so much driving your own, but wrenching on Matt's car, where you gave some advice that led to him that came on the same night that he got in victory lane? Could you claim credit for that win?
Never. Never have it. I like to think like Saturday, for instance, that we both won. Yeah. My race was before him, so I was busting and telling the guys, he's seen the line that I was running, so that's the line he was running. Well, obviously, we all know that's not true, but I like to joke around with it.
That's funny. I like that. I know you're on a little bit of a tight schedule. With the amount of racing that you do, I got to believe that your boss is fairly lenient in letting you go, still doing graphics, artwork over at Pilot Design this year.
That's right. I mean, he's probably the best boss that someone could ask for. I mean, he's a huge race fan himself, so he knows what it's like to want to get out and get racing. And as long as the work's getting done, we're putting our time in, and we've been busy. So as long as the work's getting done, he's happy, and he works a lot with us. Whether I'm leaving to go to a race or I'm going to go help Matt somewhere on the series, I mean, he's really understanding. So, I mean, it's a great place to work.
I got to believe that this time of year is just about as bad for you guys as last month was for tax practitioners.
Yeah, that's there's 4 times a year that he don't like to come to work. So, I mean, we've been really busy. Work's picked up a ton over the last 2 years. So, I mean, as long as we're busy, I think he's pretty happy.
Right. You still like doing that too, or does it get to be a grind this time of year?
Yeah, it's always fun. I mean, the race cars get pretty annoying when you do so many of them. Cause, like, man, as race season starts, so we get done with these things. But,
right.
you know, race season used to be our biggest time of year where we got a lot of race cars that get done in about a 3-week period. Because,
right.
like myself, I wait till the last minute and then drop it off, and you want it the next day. So, try to work with everybody. But we've been so busy, we really didn't have a slow season from RC cars to our commercial business really picked up a lot over the last year and a half too. So we've been busy all year round.
That's awesome. And moving into the new storefront, I mean, that's got to be helpful. Just having a little bit more space to work with too.
Yeah, it's huge. The shop. I mean, we'll put tractor trailers in there and buses and box trucks and race cars, and it's like one day it's full of everything, and we get it all done in a couple days, and it's out, and a day later it's packed full of different stuff again. So the new shop's really been nice. It's nice to show off the stuff that we can do when people come in, and you know, you feel pretty good when they can see a nice shop like that. At least
all the racers don't wait till the last minute, right?
Right. There's a lot of people that they're really good with that. They'll bring it in a couple months before, but my race car is always pretty much one of the last race cars we do, because I always wait till the last minute and don't procrastinate here. So it's good to see. Good to see. Make sure everybody else gets taken care of first. Yeah, that's right.
Who else is on the car? I know you guys are pretty tight with Paul Cole with Champion selling the generators and things along those lines. Who's on the car? Who's helping make sure the car gets out there every week and helping you get into victory lane?
Tradition Chevy, McKees and Dario. They got a dealership in Geneva on 5 and 20, and they got one over in Newark. They're great people. They're big. They're getting big into the dirt. They love it.
Nice.
I mean, if anyone's looking for a newer used car, I definitely recommend checking them guys out. They're great people. They got great salesmen. Mohawk Northeast, Al Hankey, and Betsy. They're always great to us. Big supporters in dirt also. Product 9, obviously Matt Shepard, himself and Randy. They're a ton of help during the week on my car. Got Champion, obviously Super Gen with Paul Cole. Sell a lot of his generators, inverters, pressure washers, winches. He's got a big selection of stuff over there. I got Regional Heating and Cooling out of Waterloo. Mm-hmm. Coach's Diners, new. That's downtown Waterloo on 5 and 20. Marty Colgrove. He just opened up. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty neat place to go to. So I'd recommend checking that place out as well. What else we got? Obviously Dan Pilot Design. Madison Parts Plus. Mike Welch. He's a big help too. Just the crew, every little bit helps, no matter what it is, whether it's help on the car, whether it's help with the track or sponsorship, every little bit helps.
Yep, there's no small part when it comes to a race team, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whatever, because, even a Zeus button holds the body on, you know what I mean? There's no small part when it comes to the preparation, getting there. Somebody's always doing something, and without that help, you'd be fighting the current.
You're right. We go to the track with a lot of people, and we're at Canandaigua. We got our corner back there, and there's always something going on. There's always something for somebody to do, and everybody helps everybody, so it's a good thing. For sure.
I know you were fighting a little bit of a schedule. I know you got so much stuff going on with getting ready for this weekend. I don't want to keep you all night. I sure appreciate you coming on the show. Is there anything that we missed or that you wanted to hit on?
Oh, I think that's it. I just wanted to, congratulate Paul Cole and his whole crew and everybody up there at the Land of Legends Raceway. Did a great job. Just their first week out, they didn't have a ton of time at the track to get ready with all the bad weather they had. But I think for the most part, they did a great job. And it's nice to see a promoter, care about the fans and the racers before their own pocket, which
sure.
I think Paul's done great with that. So, it's nice to see that place packed again. They had a great modified field, a lot of sportsmen, a lot of people in the stands, had the 305s back. So just want to thank Paul and all his crew for all the hard work they put in.
I think they're in store for a good year. I mean, looking at the response that they got from week one, there might be a little bit of drop off, but with some of the changes at some of the other tracks, people that are looking to run big block modifieds, the Land of Legends is the place to be.
I think so too. They got a good thing going on with the point fund too, so hopefully that draws some more people to try to come out and support them. So it's going to be a good year, I think.
Well, be sure to check in as the season goes on. I'll be looking forward to seeing more wins for you guys as an entire group. You've always been good to us and a lot of fun to talk to. And hopefully things go smooth at the shop. Things continue to roll through fast, and you don't have a bunch of vinyl laying on the floor over at Pilot's place too.
Yeah, I hope not. I appreciate you guys having me.
Definitely. It's always good to catch up with you, man. Congratulations on the win.
Alrighty, thanks, guys.
We'll see you later. Take care. And there goes Matt Guererri. Congratulations on the win again to him, coming away with the win over at Land of Legends Raceway. We're going to take a quick lap around the area and find out who did what where here for a few minutes before we roll out for the evening, focusing first on Saturday night's action over there at Land of Legends Raceway. The Patriot Tour was in town. Jason Barney came away with a win in that one. The win was worth $2,000, so good effort for him. It didn't come without its challenges, though. Brian Howland and Chuck Hebing on his heels. Steve Poirier and Dylan Westbrook finishing in the top five with the Patriots' appearance over there. As Matt alluded to, Matt Shepard coming away with his second win of the weekend over there at Land of Legends. He won Friday night at Outlaw. Previous to that, he took the checkers over Eric Rudolph. Certainly a powerhouse when you look at what he's been able to do, moving into his own in the modifieds, taking second place there at Land of Legends. Steve Payne was in third place. Jimmy Phelps and Billy Dunn rounding out the top five, and it just edged out Justin Harris and Alan Johnson in that one. Again, Matt Guererri coming away with a win over Kevin Root in the Sportsman feature. Paul Guererri with coming up with third place. Dave Marcaccelli, Kane Bristol also in the mix there. Kane really coming to his own in the Sportsman ranks, and Dave Marcaccelli, he's a force to win no matter where he goes. Dave Ferguson winning the 305 sprint feature over Darryl Ruggles, Alicia Bay, Brandon Griffin, and Johnny Kolosek. Adam DePay winning over Mark Manutolo in the street stock division. Blaine Smith, Sean Lloyd, Jason Doty rounding out the top five there, and Nick Cooper winning in the Sportsman feature, the novice Sportsman feature over Billy Payne. Over at Fulton, 124 cars signed in for action. Looking at more Saturday night results for the debut of the 358 Modifieds as the headline division. Tim Sears came away with a win in that one. Larry White, he looked like he had it in hand. He had about a 3-second lead over Sears, and Sears was charging with less than 10 to go. There was a caution that came out. It got rid of that edge, and with 2 to go, Sears was able to make that winning lead change, and he held on for White keeping second place, Billy Whitaker, and 358 rookies, Glenn Forward and Ron Davis the third. Ron Davis, of course, winning so many races in the Sportsman division over there, moving up to the 358s this year, coming over with a top five effort in his first time out. Of those 124 cars that were registered, 65 of them were Sportsman cars. Just an incredible turnout. As a result, Fulton ran 3 25-lap features for the Sportsman cars. Brandon Ford won the first one over Corey Baker and Will Shields. Mike Stanton and Jessica Power put on a heck of a show. Mike Stanton winning the second, and Billy Clark coming away with a win over Mike Button and Zach Sabotka in third place. In that third feature, Jason Parkhurst went wire-to-wire in the late model feature, and Addison Bowman won the first of 2 novice Sportsman features, Quinn Wallace winning the second. So let's dial the clock back and look at Friday night's results. As we said, Matt Shepard coming away with a win in that one. He jumped up from 8th place to win that one. Tyler Seary had a nasty flip in the feature, drew a red flag. He was okay. The car was relatively okay. As well, Alan Johnson jumping from deep in the pack to take third place. Steve Payne led early but faded in the late going, dropped to second place. Overall, Eric Fisher and Joe Dean filling out the top five. Dave Marcaccelli had to flex a little bit of muscle to get into the lead in the Sportsman feature at Outlaw on Friday. Took some side panel damage and held the lead for a long time. Chris Fisher moved to the lead with 2 laps to go and held on to win over Marcichelli, Ken Hammond, Tom Collins, and Dale Welty, who came up from 16th. So good run for Dale moving up through the field. Jason Knowles, he won the 20-lap crate late model feature. He went wire to wire in that one over Brian Knowles and Alan Chapman. Phil Yaw, he was the difference in that feature was working through lap traffic. He shook off the advances of Will Ward through the course of the IMCA feature and was able to use that lap traffic to his advantage, got through traffic well. Will Ward took second ahead of Rodney Morgan, Sean Bruce, Tony Harris. And the street stock feature was a barn burner. 3-car race for a while. Kurt Stebbins, Glenn Rittenauer, and Jared Hill. You're going to see those names at the front of the street stock pack all season long down there at Outlaw. Hill ended up spinning on lap 14, and from there Stebbins was able to keep the lead over Mike Wonderling, who charged late, Rittenauer, Dave Metjow, and Carl Cleveland. Adam Austin took the lead early in the 4-cylinder feature and checked out from Sean Gleason and Ray Heyer. Jamie Eldridge and Mark Manutolo came to the line side by side in the hobby stock feature. They were out front battling door-to-door for the duration of that main and just winning by a thin margin. At the line was Jamie Eldridge over Manutolo. Dave Decker was third place. Austin Labar won the youth 4-cylinder feature over there at Outlaw. So let's take a look at some of the stuff that's coming up here. Utica Rome, they moved their practice. They had practice on Sunday, but moved their opener to this coming Sunday, the 13th. They had soft ground, a couple soft spots in the track, so they didn't want to abuse the surface too bad. So the goal right now on the 13th is to have that 358 Super Dirt Car Series New Yorker 100, paying $4,000 to win. The Dirt Car Pro Stocks and Dirt Car Sportsman are also on the card. Novice Sportsman going to be racing as well. Adult general admission, $22 online, UticaRomeSpeedway.com if you want more information. Brewerton is going to be opening May 18th, which is coming up in just about a week away there. 7:30 start time for them. You can jump online, BrewertonSpeedway.com, for additional info on that one. The Modified is going to lead the charge. Sportsman, Mod Lights, 4-cylinders, also on the card. Adult general admission, $12. Kids under 18 years are admitted free, BrewertonSpeedway.com. Afton Speedway had a practice session leading up to their opener coming up on Friday. That's going to be tomorrow. They're going to be opening up. The test session ran for about 2 hours, but heavy thunderstorms came through, nixing the rest of it. So only about 2 hours. So everybody looking forward to getting back on track over there. AftonMotorsportsPark.com for additional details. And as we round it out, Weedsport, they had a test session as they get ready for their opener on May the 20th. Modifieds, late model, Sportsman, 360 sprints, Mod Lights, micro sprints, all signing in, about 20 cars in total. The track held up great in the sun, which was good news. It slicked over like it was supposed to. It didn't come apart, which was good news. Gary Tompkins debuted his new ride. Beautiful purple and yellow colors with black trim on that one. Good-looking car. Max McLaughlin, Jimmy Phelps, hot lap in their modifieds. Dave Marcichelli and Zach Sobotka over there doing hot laps with their sportsman cars on Sunday. Mike Mahaney, he had his 360 over there. Everybody getting ready for the opener May the 20th. It's the Icebreaker 50 for mods. The Sportsman NY6A Micros also on the card as well. Adult general admission, $20 online. WeedsportSpeedway.com for additional details. So now we're going to have a couple weeks off, and we are going to be back in business, projected to be on the 24th of May. So we'll have more racing action for you to recap then. Looking forward to seeing everybody. Big thank you out to Matt Guererri, who hung out with us tonight, talk a little bit about his win over the weekend at Land of Legends Raceway. That's going to do it for us here at the North Park Building at Academy Square. 31st lap, number 241 in the books. We'll see you again in 2 weeks.